Want to start this video off by saying I consider myself still a casual WNBA fan. However, my daughter playing, all the way through the circuit club and now at a JUCO and being familiar coaching girls basketball, I'm familiar with the women's game and, the subtle differences and the big differences between the men's game and seeing it as though the Valkyries, Golden State's WNBA team, is going to get started next season. I plan on covering them. So I'm watching more and more WNBA and in preparation to be covering that team next summer. I'm excited about it. And then obviously Caitlin Clark, the phenomenon that she has been, since 2 years ago at Iowa and watching this season. And so her rookie season is over. I watched maybe 10 games and then the playoffs this week. So again, my casual take on this Indiana Fever team and their season, I thought it was dope to watch them come together because it was rough at the beginning, right? And Christy Side's rotations certainly didn't help that. There was some suspect rotations, right? But I think what helped them come together was the fact that there was so much scrutiny on them because of Caitlin, and then all the other teams in the league kind of on their necks initially, like, oh no, y'all ain't about to do nothing against us, right? And I think it galvanized them. They had to bond, otherwise they were going to be destroyed, right? They weren't going to play well. You got to win. And kind of the concept of, hey, a rising tide lifts all boats. And when you saw Caitlin's teammates start to empower her a little more, they got going, right? But now that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark's rookie season is over, I do hope that we can kind of stop the comparisons. I get they're always going to be connected to each other with that rivalry, but the real comp and peer for Caitlin is Sabrina, right? And you see her smack dab in the middle of her revenge tour. Because let's face it, she got punked in those finals last year. I watched those finals. And she just wasn't ready for it. The physicality, the athleticism of the Aces guard, she just wasn't ready for it, and it made her better. She's come back stronger, and again, looking like she's ready to seek revenge on this Aces team. That's going to be a hell of a series. But yeah, I think that, that's the comp for her moving forward. And when you talk about, again, I get it, the rookie of the year, and they're always going to be connected. But when you talk about like MVPs in the face of the league moving forward, Sabrina, Caitlin, and Nafisa Collier are, that's where the conversation's going to go, right? And as far as Sabrina and Caitlin go, I was thinking, is it kind of like Dame Steph kind of thing, And I think, to me, look, I have no doubt Sabrina can go shot for shot with Caitlin. Maybe not quite the range, but she shoots it more efficiently, probably. She doesn't take as many bad shots as Caitlin. I think the separator that I see is Caitlin is a better athlete than Sabrina. She's longer, she's quicker, and she's naturally stronger. And I think that combined with a tighter handle, that's the separator I see. But I'm curious. I'm not willing to say that Caitlin's going to have the crown and take off with it. But that's the difference I see physically with them. Granted, Sabrina's asked to do less, right? She's playing with one of the GOATs in Stewie, Jonquel Jones, a bunch of veterans, right? And I guess that kind of brings me to my main topic on this Fever team. Aaliyah Boston is very easy to root for, right? She comes off as a sweet, well-spoken girl, plays hard, and look, no hate, she ain't it. She ain't it. And if she was drafted 5th, if there wasn't a ton of hype around her, I wouldn't be on her like this, right? But number 1 pick coming out of South Carolina, I was told she was a franchise building big man, big woman, right? Like people are treating her like she's AD, right? Where in reality, when I watch her, she's a lot more like Looney. She sets good screens. She gives great effort on the glass. But when she has the ball, it's like, hold your breath. Hold your breath. She's lumbering. She doesn't really protect the rim. And it kind of feels like that one of the issues with the WNBA right now, I don't want to get too deep into the rabbit hole with that, but it kind of seems like the fans and the league is like decided Aaliyah Boston, number one pick, you're going to be a star. You're going to make the All-Star game. When you watch, I don't see it. And again, if she didn't have all this hype around her, I'd say, all right, fine. She's like a decent big. But I don't think she's going to be Robin to Caitlin Clark's Batman moving forward. And talking about, this young Fever team, I get how young they are, but she doesn't have, I don't think she has her true sidekick. Sabrina has Stewie. She doesn't have that yet, right? Now, Kelsey Mitchell, probably, if I am going to shoot Aaliyah Boston some bail, Kelsey Mitchell probably isn't helping her cause as far as like setting her up. And Kelsey Mitchell is one of the more fun watches in the league. She's electric, right? And she's just a straight bucket. I love how hard she competes defensively at her size when you consider how much energy she uses on the offensive end. But her, and again, I've watched 10, 12 games of the Fever, but her passing the ball to me is like more shocking than Clay giving it up when he's hot. Like she doesn't create for others at all. She's just putting it up every time. And she does it again at an efficient rate. It's impressive, but it's not helping Boston get going or, I just think if she could take herself to another level, if she looked to create for others and make others better. But at this point, I think she is what she is, and she's just a certified bucket. So, I don't know if she's going to stay with the Fever moving forward and in the contract situations. I'm not that familiar with how that stuff works. I thought I heard someone vaguely say like franchise tag or something like that. Someone's going to have to school me on the contracts. Y'all know I'm not even good at the contracts with the NBA stuff. I'm not a contract guy. I'm a on the court player evaluator. Lexi Hull, winning player. You saw it when she was playing with her sister at Stanford. You want to talk about a connector, as Steve Kerr calls it, right? I thought the more she played, the better the Fever looked because she connected things. And it seemed like she helped empower Caitlin, when was it midway through the season. So I think she's a keeper. Smith, who it took a while to get in the rotation, and I get it, sides. I don't know what the situation's going to be with her. I know a lot of people don't want her to return, but they started to play hard for her at the end. I can't call that. Smith, look, I have no problem with her game. She's just a little too unserious for me. I don't know if I trust her on the floor when it matters. Now, how do you say this girl's name? Fagbenlay out of USC was the first girl on the squad where it was like, all right, Caitlin has some sort of rapport with her. And that's the type of big that I think you need to pair with Cece, right? Because the way she wants to push tempo, the way she passes the ball, you need an athletic big that can run the floor, and she fit the bill, right? Brink would have been perfect to pair with Caitlin Clark. And so I don't know exactly, again, the contract situations and who wants to come play with her, because that's, you see her passing, and I know a lot of people complained about, like how many people smoked layups and smoked her passes. That's the one thing that I would like to see Caitlin work on this offseason is putting some touch on her passes, right? There's some nuance to it. I love her vision. I love her willingness to pass the tempo, but let's be honest, a lot of them are too hot. They're too hot to handle. And then there are times when her teammates are smoking them, right? But you watch the point guard the other night in Las Vegas, Chelsea Gray, putting backspin on dimes, just floating the ball into the pocket. She throws a much more catchable ball than Caitlin Clark. And so I think that's one of the things she needs to work on in the offseason. And I also think one of her big advantages in the offseason is, look, Caitlin has made her fortune. What was the Nike deal? Like 90 million or something like that, right? And you see the endorsements everywhere. So unlike a lot of her peers, she doesn't have to go play overseas financially. So she can actually work on her game, get her body right, get stronger, and be ready for the season. I think that's a big advantage for her moving forward. But all in all, I think a successful season for Caitlin, obvious rookie of the year. I'm curious to see where this Fever team goes, because I don't think Aaliyah Boston, I'm not saying you got to get rid of her. I'm just saying I don't think she's the one. I'm not quite sure why the WNBA wants to anoint her like the next great big, because I'm not seeing it. Underdog, click the link in the description, use the code Alchemy, get a 50% bonus on the first deposit up to $1,000. What do we got tonight? Thursday night football, Cowboys, Giants, division rivals. It's been ugly for both of those teams. I'm looking at the interception number for both quarterbacks, but I can't call it. There's a ton of specials and bonuses going on with Underdog right now, so go check it out and put it together. I might post my pick later on the community tab, but as always, Underdog, huge supporter of the channel. Click the link and use the code. Patrons, I may make an executive decision here. I've been watching the first round of these WNBA playoffs. As of right now, today, I think I'm going to flex out of the Niners-Patriot game and do Aces Liberty game 1 Sunday, because I just feel like I'm just more interested in that game than the Niners-Patriots game. I know some will complain, but some may be excited about it, but that's how I'm feeling right now. That's how I'm feeling right now, because now you've got the Sun and the Lynx, the Liberty and the Aces by easily the 4 powers of the WNBA. So I'm excited to see how these playoffs unfold, and if the Liberty are going to get their get back. The Aces, man, they look like they're peaking at just the right time. Just at the right time, they started looking like the Aces again. So that's spooky. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.